Hi, this is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. This might be a video that never gets posted, to be honest with you. Sometimes I just have to speak my thoughts out, to just work things out through my mind, because I don't really have anybody to be a good sounding board for my thoughts sometimes. It's very hard for my husband to really grasp a lot of different streams of thought and put them all together. He struggles with that. And just our lives these days are not conducive to having a lot of people that are around me a lot to where I can just sound off things. So sometimes just coming to the camera and praying and sounding off things helps me get things out of my system and helps me to just feel like I've talked something through. Because sometimes when you're talking things out loud, other thoughts come into your mind, or other teachings, or other experiences kind of harken back in your mind, and you remember things, and sometimes you can just kind of put things in perspective by saying them out loud. I think if we hold things in our heart too much, first of all, it can kill us. It can kill us with anxiety, and it can kill us with stress. But if we kind of get it out there, not necessarily beating people over the head with every thought that comes out of your brain, like happens a lot. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, oh, I screamed at somebody so I got it off my chest. Now, they're collateral damage. I'm not going to think about them anymore, but I got it off my chest. That's not what I mean. What I mean is just talking like this. And if I don't think it comes to anything that'll be any good to anybody, you won't even see it. But I will have gotten it off my shoulders, out of my heart, out of my chest, and just kind of talked it through in a way that I can do. This is a way I can do. So that's what I'm doing. I've only posted one video since our president was shot at. I think I posted that after that. I think I did. I don't even know. It was right around that time, if not. Of the sweet girl in New Orleans that has gone missing. I did Google it last night because I just don't think it's going to make any kind of news that I would see to let me know if she's been found. And according to Google searches, I don't think she has. So I just pray for her. She's one child that to me is symbolic of so much that's going on now. So much. As a matter of fact, I watched a video yesterday, a video testimony of yet another Department of Homeland Security employee that has gone before our Congress, before the Senate, begging and pleading for them to do something about the child trafficking that is going on through our Department of Homeland Security, completely taxpayer funded, and it is going on where thousands and thousands of these illegal immigrant children are being trafficked in the United States of America with our taxpayer money, with the full consent of our administration that is there now. The secretaries of those departments were picked by our president, and they are carrying this out with the full consent of the administration, according to these DHS workers. And the workers are being told to shut up, to quit questioning things, that it's not their business, that it's not their problem. They are literally delivering many, many multiples of children to the same addresses. They are not required per their contract to actually meet the people that they're dropping them off to. So this isn't like a foster home situation in a county or something where the foster homes are vetted and all. They're not even vetting anything. They're just dropping these kids off. She said they have literally dropped kids off on empty lots to be picked up by their handlers. And the people at DHS tell them, just do what you're told. Just do what you're told. According to government reports, this is their numbers, months ago, there's 85,000 children that have come across the border that they can't find, that they've processed in, and then they've lost. So if that was months ago and it was 85,000 and nothing has slowed up since then, you can guarantee it's over 100,000 kids right now. And that's just the ones they're telling us about, okay? If you're going to confess and admit that you've lost 85,000, you've probably lost more than that. The child trafficking industry in America has never seen better days than it has right now. Never seen better days. All of this stuff going on in our country right now has made all of those people culpable. The blood is on their hands. They are culpable for the lives of these children who they have not just sold, they have just given them to traffickers all across America. And these traffickers, I'm sure, came across the border too. And they have been set up in the best industry that is booming in America right now, trafficking our children. So I get mad about that. But guess what? This video was not really going to be about that. That's just one thing on my mind. I'm very, very angry about that, because no one seems to care about that when it comes towards this election and thinking about who to vote for. And I say no one, a lot of people do. I don't mean to say no one cares. A lot of people do. But when we start arguing about this president's more pro-abortion, so we don't want that. This president's more pro-LGBT, so we don't want that. Or anti-that, so we don't want that. And you just go vote for people on these single little issues. You have to understand that these single little issues are what they use to pull you away from the bigger issues, which is our life and our liberty and our pursuit of happiness, which is being stripped of so many people. It's being stripped. You come across the border and you're put into a home where you're trafficked 10, 20 times a day to strangers, and you don't get a red cent out of it. All the money goes to other people. You have no life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You have none. And so I don't really care about their stances on little issues. I want to know how they feel on big issues. And this administration has told me how they feel on the big issue of human trafficking, and that they don't care. They don't care. So I can't vote for anything like that. I can't. If you don't like President Trump, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but he does care about children. And I will always vote for somebody that has that passion to end human trafficking. Because if we don't end something like human trafficking, if we don't work on that very basic thing of protecting our children from being pimped out and sold and then discarded when they're of no use to these traffickers anymore, if we don't fix that, I don't really give a care about fracking or other things. What difference does it make? So I wanted to just say that ever since the shot went off last Saturday, I've really been too upset and angry about it to film a video, and really don't know where this is going to go today, because I'm still just as angry as I can be about stuff. And maybe that's not a side that you see of me all the time, but it's a side that exists, because our president was shot. People were killed. And it was, to me, a direct coup to take over our government. And yet within a week, most people that I know care deeply and are still worried about it. But a lot of the time you get kind of swept on to, let's move on to the next sporting event. Let's move on to this and let's move on to that. And I'm not moving on. I'm not moving on. Now is the time in our country when we need some truth. Christ is the truth with the capital T. The capital T. But we need truth about who these people are that are running our government. We need the truth about that assassination attempt, because it was completely rigged. That much, we haven't had much released about it, but that much we have. 26 minutes of observing this person and not doing anything, letting our president go back up on stage, or go up on stage without calling it off or putting a quietus on it while they could go investigate. I don't know why they needed to go investigate if they're watching the guy the whole time for 26 minutes. They could have done it at any moment went and intercepted him for any reason. If he had a rangefinder on him, arrest him. I don't understand why do you need to observe someone? You don't. I don't even want to go, I'm not wasting my breath to say, why would you? You don't. Secret Service men tackle people for less than that. You're walking behind perimeter lines, you're not part of the crowd, you're on a building laying down with a gun. My God. I went to the Capitol of the United States of America years ago on a trip with my daughter's 8th grade class. We were a few adults and a whole bunch of 8th graders now. And we had people, Capitol Police, I guess, they were standing in bushes. Literally, I would look over there and see a bush, and I would realize there's a man in there with a gun. And it was fully tactical geared people with whatever type gun. I'm not a gun expert, but I called them submachine guns. And they were watching us, and they weren't smiling at us. And when they saw me watching them, they didn't smile and say hello or nothing like that. They looked at us like we were criminals. And I guess a terrorist could hide up in a group like that. So I understand their need to just focus. I do. What I don't understand is when you're guarding a presidential rally and you have a guy in your sights for 26 minutes, and that's the low ball. They've actually kind of admitted they knew he was there for an hour. When you have a guy in your sights for 26 minutes and you do absolutely nothing, you didn't want to do anything. So I'm angry about that. I'm angry about all the lies. I'm having trouble with a lot of the different takes on this, even from the locals. The tendency was to say, oh, they're trying to throw the locals under the bus. But one of the local policemen did an interview where he said his officers did a perimeter walk around that building and then had to find the lowest point between the ground and the roof to boost the other officer up, who put eyes on the shooter. And when the shooter turned the gun on him, he had to drop and fall on the ground. My first thought was, there's a ladder against the building. The guy is claimed by the government to have went and bought a ladder. They're showing pictures to us of a ladder. So if the two cops did a perimeter walk around the building, but then had to find a place to boost themselves up like Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer, why didn't they just climb the ladder? Was the ladder not really there? You know, was there no ladder? Are these two officers giving a false statement? I want to know these things, because if I, a 50-something-year-old grandma, can sit here in Louisiana and spot these inconsistencies, why can't our erudite agencies, who take in so much of our money every year for all of their stuff and their technology that they have no problem using against Americans, why can't they use all this info and put it through all their processes and come out with some answers for us? It really makes me wonder if they don't want to. It really makes me wonder who all was involved. And I want to know. I'm an American that wants to know. And I will be here shortly contacting both of my senators. One won't care, the other one will. But I want them all to know we're not going to let this die. You're not just going to put another sporting event up on there and let everybody just focus on that and let this die away. It's not going to die away. And I want to know. I want answers. I am a citizen of this United States. And if you're not going to give us some truth, then I'm going to assume you're just stealing our money and doing what you want with it without thinking you're accountable to us. And if that's the truth, you don't need to be in your job. These people need to be fired. They probably need to be arrested. If they were in any way culpable with this shooting, they need to be put on trial for whatever the maximum penalty is in the United States for this. A lot of people are calling for resignations from some of these people. They're not resigning, but resignation is not the answer to this. Resignation is just, okay, she's not going to be in that job anymore. He's not going to be in that job anymore. That's not solving anything. That's not solving anything. What is the truth? And if you were part of it and knew of it ahead of time, you need to be on trial, public trial. They had no problem publicizing President Trump's trials. You need to be on public trial before the United States of America. And if you don't want that, you best be talking now. That's what I have to say. That's why I didn't really want to make this video, because I have a lot of thoughts like that, and I'm very aggravated about that, and I'm not going to let it go. Because now is the time. If we walk away from something like this and we let our president be shot at, and we let innocent people be killed and others are still in the hospital, and we don't sit here and say, now it stops. It stops now. We want truth now. What are we doing? There was a little spying incident years ago that caused a president to be tossed out of office for a spying incident where he might have known something and said something maybe to somebody when he was in the Oval Office, and he had to go. But this happens under his watch of the current president. It's being scapegoated by all of his agencies, and they're forbidding people to testify before Congress about it, and no heads have rolled. What's the difference here? Because my childhood was marked by Nixon getting tossed out. I think some childhoods this time and age need to be rocked by Biden getting tossed out. But instead of doing something like that, people are analyzing it politically. Well, it's probably better to leave Biden in office because we don't know who's coming, and that doesn't matter. What is the truth? What is the truth? And I'm tired of all the political ramblings of everything. What is the truth? What is truth? When we go to church, we say we love Jesus because he's the way and the truth and the life. And then coming into our own lives, we want to look at it through a political lens and see whether it'd be better just to keep Biden or, what is the truth? If we don't get to the truth, we're never going to heal. And things like the truth cause suffering. So if it might be better to leave Biden and it might be worse to have somebody else, guess what? We might just have a little suffering. Nobody that attains the highest degree in God's eyes got there without suffering. Nobody. Nobody. And I'm fixing to do something that's going to just probably make people mad at me. But this week I was deeply hurt by the words from a channel that I deeply appreciate and deeply love. I think people just say words. I'm saying words right now, and you don't know how they're going to land on people. And I don't think anybody ever goes out to hurt anybody, but sometimes we do with our words. We don't mean to sometimes people do, but I don't think you usually mean to do it. I think you just get caught up in something and you say things, and then it lands, and it lands in a way on people that you don't expect. Well, one of the channels I deeply love this week went on a tirade talking about content creators. And if people call themselves content creators, they're full of bull, and they're fake. And that if you have to create content, if you actually have to create content, you're fake. That if you don't walk out and just film what it is you're doing every day, then you're not a real homesteader or gardener or farmer or whatever. That you should have enough content in your daily life to make your channel. If you have to come up with content, you're fake. And first of all, I just want to point out that the episode this was on was a weekly show that is created each week. Not about their farm or their garden, but it's created each week. It's called content creation. When you have a weekly episode of something and you have to come up with a topic for it each week, that's called content creation. So I think the words that were used to insult every other content creator were uncalled for. As far as if you put out things that aren't just a part of your daily life, then it's fake. I had a big issue with that too. And I think the reason I took it so hard was because my emotions this week are so raw. And my emotions are raw this week. So I'm probably doing a video I've never done before, but I'm just telling you what's on my mind. I tuned into a lot of videos this week on YouTube simply to find relief from the world, because while washing dishes or doing things, I didn't want to hear another news report on the TV behind me that my husband was watching. I wanted to kind of get away. So when you go on to a channel you love and you hear them insult your very existence as a YouTube channel, we're all channels. You're a channel if you're watching this. It's just that if you don't put out videos, you're not really a content creator, you're just a channel. If you do put out videos, you're a content creator. And so when those words are being said, they're insulting the people that put out videos. No, I don't do what he said. I don't go out every day and just film what I'm doing, and that's that. I don't do this channel as a daily vlog. A lot of people do. They say, okay, I'm walking out my house, I have a cup of coffee, come walk with me. Come look at what I'm seeing, come hear my words about everything I'm doing in my life. And I like that. Those are good escape channels. I like that. I appreciate people. I watch all kind of different channels, and I like people of all walks of life. But not everybody can do their channel the exact same way. I don't have enough content, really, especially right now with the heat killing off my garden, and with it being so darn hot that I don't even feel like tearing it down right now. I don't really have enough content to just walk y'all around every day and show you a daily vlog in the life of Lainey. And I'll be honest with you, the rest of what I'm doing during the day, I really can't show you. Out of respect for my husband and his privacy, I'm not going to put him on video showing you all of our different little routines we have every day. Feeding him breakfast, getting him dressed. This week I shaved him, I cut his hair. Of course, I bathe him every other day, so I mean that's a normal thing. So we're always doing routines like that. Those things take up half of my day. While I'm doing those routines, I'm thinking, is there anything I'm going to be doing today that I could film? Sometimes the answer is yes. Other times it's no, because we might just be getting ready to head out and run errands. And sometimes I might adjust my day to film y'all something that I really wasn't planning on doing that day, like cooking something or canning something or doing something that I can film. I might not have been planning it that day, but I went ahead and worked it in because it was just kind of time for some content, and I was going to be doing it anyway shortly. But to sit here and say that I just take y'all with me every day and that's all I do, no, that's not all I do. But that's not what a lot of people do. And thank God, because you need variety in this world. You need variety on channels. You need different voices to speak different things into you. And what we don't need to do is to take other channels to task for not doing it our way. I don't do it their way all the time. But my life is just as real as theirs is. I love them. I love them. And I don't want, hopefully, my channel to hurt people by me being so judgmental about other people's channels. Some thrill me every time they post a notification, and I get so excited that I can watch a video from that channel. Other channels don't. But I'm not going to criticize them. You just watch or you don't watch, and then you don't insult them like that. We're not fake. We're not fake if we don't go out every day and do a vlog on exactly what we're doing. I'm fixing to go to the grocery store. Y'all not going with me. Y'all not going with me. A lot of people take everybody to the grocery store when they go. I hurry in and I hurry out because he's sitting out in the car. We're just going to go and come back, and that's that. So that was deeply hurting. And another channel, I don't know if it hurt me so much as it made me mad this week, but I'm going to talk about that too, because why not? Here I go. Another channel that I deeply love and I follow and I laugh on, and I quote this channel a lot. I love this channel. But the topic of a video this week was about the assassination attempt And it was just wondering what we thought about the vice presidential nominee. I never comment on this channel because there's so many comments that I just assume mine's never going to be read or seen, and sometimes I just don't take the time to comment on big channels because what's the point? But I commented on this channel and I said what my words here are from just my thoughts. They're not directed at anybody because I didn't want the person that did this channel to think I was in some way questioning them. Their thoughts were, I don't know about the VP. I'm going to watch and see. I don't know. You know, I'm not sure if that was the greatest pick. And so my comment was, I kind of thought the same thing because I don't know a lot about him. He wasn't my first choice, and I'm a little worried about it. However, I said, my statement was, if we could all witness what we witnessed on Saturday and say that God divinely intervened to save his life by that tilt of that head, by that bullet grazing his ear instead of hitting him in the brain, if we could say that was God's intervention, why can't we just let this pick play out and see what happens? If God was in that assassination attempt, God could be in this. So I said at the end, I'm not a Washington insider. I don't know anything. I don't know who these people truly are at their core. I didn't say this, but I did hear Tucker Carlson say that J.D. Vance was one of the decent people that he knew around Washington, that he truly is close to his wife and his children, and he loves them. And he said that is a rarity among all of our senators and congressmen, Republican or Democrat. Tucker said he left Washington because of all the immorality that he saw, but he said that J.D. Vance was one of the moral ones. So taking Tucker at his word, I just thought, and it ended up my comment on this channel just saying, you know, let's just wait and see. If it was God's intervention to save our president, then maybe God, you know, has his hand through this whole process. Let's just wait and see. Well, I looked at a bunch of comments before I even made that, and most comments were not questioning this video. They were saying, amen, my thoughts exactly, you know, on and on and on. Lots of affirmation. And so I thought, well, mine's going to stick out like a sore thumb, but I'm just being honest. Let's wait and see. Let's trust God in this. So I kind of was not surprised that the very next video that came out was about blind faith and about people who are just trusting this pick with blind faith and how we may be setting ourselves up to be deceived. And here's where I'm going to make people mad, because if you know the channel, you'll know what I'm talking about. But she held a snake the whole time in this video, cuddled up to a snake from her yard, and basically the whole point of the video was you're so easily deceived. You can be deceived so easy if you have blind faith. And as the days have went by, and I just felt like it was a very condescending video. I don't know that it was even directed at my comment. It was probably just directed at the lump of people that commented about just trusting God in this. And so I can't sit here and tell you that it had anything to do with my comment. But being lumped in my mind with a lot of these comments, knowing that I had those thoughts of let's just trust God with this instead of, you know, worrying about it. I was with those people in thought in those comments. So it did kind of feel like a video that went after those of us that thought that way. And words are words. I can take words, and everybody can have their opinions. And I'll give you a little hint. One thing a lot of content creators, if we're allowed to call ourselves that, one hint that I've heard many times from some of the big channels that operate is that to get your content for your next videos or upcoming videos, you always need to read your current comments. because they'll give you ideas on what to talk about the next time. Pay attention to your listeners, get their thoughts, and then base your future content on that. So I know that this video was kind of that. It was a response to comments, but it gave good content and a reason to get back on the air and a reason to talk and a reason to throw their particular thoughts out there. So words are words, and content creators are just certainly free to read their comments and to come out with a video responding against something in their comments, and that's fine. That's just life. That's life. I'm not so tender that would hurt me. But what stayed with me all week was the image of that snake. It was there to make a point, but to me, the evilness of that snake has stayed in my mind all week. The message of the fact that we shouldn't have blind faith has not stayed in my mind, because my mind is, I would rather err on the side of not condemning this pic or not, I'm not going to go on my channel and ask y'all, what about that J.D. Vance? What about him? I don't know him. I don't know him personally. So I'm not going to go on my channel and throw out doubts into people's minds on someone. So it's made me wonder, when you think of the snake, did that snake represent the fact that I could be deceived and that I shouldn't have blind faith? Or does that snake represent chaos and confusion and doubt that was sown in the minds of everyone listening to the video? I mean, I think snakes biblically have that rap. They are representing Satan, causing confusion and discord and upheaval. And I don't think that cozying up to a snake on a video put out a message to people like me that we need to not have blind faith and open up our brains and have some doubt. We need to have that skeptical, good, healthy doubt. I'll pass. I'm not the least bit worried about cancel culture and about any of these channels getting mad at me. I'm not. I believe we have the right to speak what we want to say. I don't want to use my audience and their comments to come back and bash them over the head with it. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just throwing out thoughts of mine that I've had this week that have been the reason why I haven't even wanted to post, because I just feel like not only was our president attacked, but good people get attacked. And sometimes when attacks come, I get quiet. I get a little bit sad for the world. And then later I'll get to where I can talk about it. There was a Eucharistic Congress in Indiana this week. 50,000 Catholics from around the world, or the country for sure, but the world maybe, came to worship and pray and have mass and everything. It's a beautiful, beautiful situation. I'm Catholic. But of course, whenever I've gotten online this week, I've had to see all the ugly comments about Catholics and just horrid, horrid stuff. It's terrible. I think, not arguing about theology or anything like that, I just think a lot of people they're where God wants them, and if you're where God wants you to be, if you've prayed about it and you're where God wants you to be right now, and it fits for your life right now, and it fits for your happiness and all, then that's fine. I prayed a lot about where I should be, and God led me to the Catholic Church as an adult with children, and that's where I am. And it is beautiful faith, and I love this faith. And so to see all the attacks this week, not just on Catholics, rank and file Catholics, but on Jesus, on Jesus's mother, on the sacrament of the Eucharist, which a lot of people just refer to as communion, but that sacrament, Jesus can take it, I guess, but it's hard for us to watch him be maligned in this way. And I think if you don't speak out and you just don't say anything, you're complicit in it. That being said, I don't ever comment or say anything that is ugly, because I'm not going to meet ugly with ugly. Sometimes things go through my mind and I want to fire it off because I'm so upset at something. But I'm not going to do that and meet ugly with ugly. So this has been a week. This has been a week when our president was attacked. This has been a week where my faith was attacked. This has been a week as a YouTuber I felt attacked, a content creator. YouTube refers to it as content creators, by the way. You know, they send you things saying how you can expand your reach and how you can make your channel better as a content creator. So that's not just something that fake people made up. I've had a snake thrown up in my face, you know, telling people with blind faith that they're naive and stupid and they're up for deceit. All in all, it's just been a week where I haven't wanted to really talk about things. I haven't. I have a lot more thoughts. I've read a lot more information. I have a lot of deep thoughts about a lot of this, but my every thought doesn't have to come out on YouTube. I pray that everyone's okay. I pray that mentally you're okay. I pray that you just understand. If people don't understand by this point their need to buckle up and to get food put back and to get preparations made around their homes for the times when something bigger than a CrowdStrike outage, which was a joke, that affected flights and hospitals and 911 centers yesterday. When something bigger than that comes along, you need to be asking yourself, what are you going to do? And if you haven't even thought about it yet, there's nothing I can do for you. Channels like mine and a lot of the good people that I follow, you know, these drums have been being beaten for years. And if you have not woken up to that, if all you're worried about is watching who wins the Super Bowl or something, I have no words left to give you. I have no words left. For those of you that do care, I love y'all. And I pray that all of you have what you need, wherever you are, that you have community, you have supplies. Because, as I think I said a while ago, if I didn't say it, it was in my mind, that nobody really gets to truth, to the highest point of being godlike, of being close to God, without suffering. It's not popular to talk about. I found that out years ago. I was on the ministry at our church that helped people become Catholic. After I became Catholic, I joined this ministry. They asked me to. It's called RCIA, but people don't always know what that means, but it's a rite of Christian initiation of adults. But I joined the RCIA team and I was on it for 14 years. I even stayed on it after my son died, even though I was just kind of mentally, I don't know, still deeply hurt after that, but I stayed on it for a while. But then God told me, you know, you can take a break, you know, and when he tells me that, I know that it's time to step back, and those doors have closed. Doors he opened for me, he now closes, and that's up to him. So I was a catechist after a Sunday Mass, and it was the last time I was ever going to be a catechist. And those who have come into Catholic Church know what I'm talking about. When those who are becoming Catholic don't stay for the whole Mass. They only stay until after all the scripture readings are done and everything. That's the liturgy of the Word. And then the catechist holds up the Bible and we process out with all of the catechumens, the people that are coming into the church, filing out behind us. They don't stay for the liturgy of the Eucharist, which is communion. So we went over to the church, and you have a little session with them while Mass is being finished. And then after Mass, everybody comes over. The families of the people joining the church, the other people that are in the ministry that weren't catechists that day. Everybody from the team comes over. Everybody has a snack, and then we have a second session, and that lasts a little while. And so if you're catechist for the first part, you're also catechist for the second part. So that second part, because it's longer and because it's a lot more people there, it's a big room full of people, you usually do a lot of preparation for that session. And this particular week, I can't really remember what the scripture was that we had heard at Mass. We always tried to use those scriptures as part of our planning for whatever the catechesis was on that Sunday. I cannot remember the scripture, but usually it freaked me out to be catechist because I have a fear of public speaking, and I never really got over that. No matter how many times I was catechist at church, I never really got over that. So I was always tried to prepare a lot, working with co-catechists and everything, tried to prepare a lot so that you could fill up that hour, you would have a flow, and you would have enough to talk about to get through it and convey your message and prayers and everything, and then you were done. And I always did lots of preparation. Well, for this particular time, praying to God about what is it you want me to say to these people, what's the what direction do you want me to take this, dear Lord? He says to me at that particular time, I was sitting in my recliner in my den. I remember this. My son was at school. I was alone in the house, did everything around the house, got to the point where I could sit in that recliner and have quiet time, and just said, what do you want me to talk about? And he said, I want you to ask them, are they prepared to suffer? And I was like, okay. The scriptures must have applied to that somehow, because it all fit in. But whereas before I had had so much trouble trying to come up sometimes with a unique way to present things, ways that would be good catechesis and be remembered by people. I like to tell things with stories of other people, of people in this world who have been through those type of things, both current and in the past. So I was like, okay, how can I go about this? But I got out my paper, and all of a sudden, I just wrote out about 6 pages of words that just flowed. They just flowed through me to my hand, and I just started writing. Are you prepared to suffer? And God just gave it to me. He just gave it to me. I didn't have to do anything. So I thought, well, I'll edit this, and I'll, kind of make some changes if I need to and make it more interesting and beef it up a little bit. And that never happened. That never happened. Every time I would read through it, it was complete. It was simply complete. And I realized, okay, Lord, you gave me what you wanted me to say. You just gave it to me. So that's what I did. So I got up there that Sunday after everybody had come over from Mass, and I presented those words. I typed them up so I could read them a little better, but basically I didn't change anything. I just typed up those words and read them. And if I can tell you that it was the biggest flop of any point where I'd ever been a catechist, I would be underestimating what I'm telling you. I got some polite clapping at the end. I got no verbal response really from anybody on the team, like, oh, that was good job, or nothing. I was left hanging and it was embarrassing, kind of, but I knew it was him, so I just said, oh well, oh well. And that was kind of my opus that I gave, because after that I was not on the team anymore. I mean, that was planned. That was the last session that I had to do, and I didn't have to deal with creating any more catechesis work or anything. And so that was the end. 14 years of being on the team, and that was my last words, to a little polite hand clapping, very, very little, and people looking at me like, suffer? we're coming into this church to suffer? And then people that were in our church were looking at me like, why are you telling them all that? Why are you telling them all that? And I'll be honest with you, I just told them all that because that's what God told me to tell them. And people weren't ready for it and didn't really hear it. I hope sometimes that people might understand it now, but maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's not up to me. Several times in my life, those kind of things have happened. You do things that you feel God's asking you to do, and it's not so that you can get 1,000 subscribers and get monetized or get money coming off of all this stuff. It's just because God told you to do it. My little video the other day on the missing girl in New Orleans, 27 views. It's holding fast at 27 views after almost a week. 2 sweet people on my channel bothered to comment, and I appreciate that. In all honesty, it's a flop. As far as YouTube videos go, it's a flop. But all I know is he helped me put it together. He put this child's story into my mind, and he helped me do the research on it. And all I know is I just need one person out there to see it to make a difference. I don't need 500,000 people to watch it and it go viral for it to make a difference. You just need the one right person, and only God knows who that one right person is. So I just do things when I think I should. Hopefully this video will help somebody. That's up to him, and that's between you and him, and I've got no control over it. I'm gonna let y'all go because I've got things to do. No, I'm not filming it. I've got to go dress my husband. We are going to the store, and then I'm coming back, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think if it's rained or if it's cooled off, I'll do a little yard work. Probably won't film. And then I'm gonna spend the evening working on my genealogy stuff again, because I'm desperately trying to get a lot of that wrapped up. I've been working on it for months now. Probably about 6 months. I'm 250 something pages, single space typed, of genealogy I put together, and I'm really excited to one day be able to offer this to the greater members of my family as a resource. I'm really excited about it. So there's a lot of things going on in my life, and just everybody be kind to each other. Be kind and just be real. Don't let your anger hurt others. Don't let every thought that comes through your mind go through this video, if you're a content creator, and zing arrows at people. That's what editing's for. If it comes out that it's really mean, and you really are like, ouch, when you're watching the video, when you're editing, just take it out. Just take it out. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. I appreciate you letting me talk to you today and get this off my chest. We'll talk to y'all another time, and God bless everybody. Stay safe. Pray for our country. Pray for truth. Pray for truth. Just ask for truth. It needs to be revealed. Amen. Bye-bye.